registered in the name of Parliament of Ghana.
Also in the bulletin, Galamsey threatens Dotse water treatment plant expansion.
It's very bleak. If we continue like that, 10 o'clock in the morning, they are on our river body, the mighty River Pra, doing galamsey with champagne. We've all seen it.
GRA task force apprehends businesses for VAT invoice non-compliance.
You have gone against Section 41 of the VAT Act, where you are supposed to issue the invoice. So once you fail to do so, you have committed an offense for which you have to be arrested.
And later in CNR Business. IMF mission staff arrive in Ghana to evaluate economic recovery program implementation. Now let's start on a religious note where the National Peace Council says it has taken a proactive step in mediating a peace agreement between the Nogopu traditional authorities and the founder of Perez Chapel International, Archbishop Charles Ajanasari. Now, in a statement issued on Tuesday, June 6, 2023, the council indicated that Volta Regional Peace Council has begun the process to engage the parties for amicable redress. This decision comes in response to a growing conflict between the Nogopu community and Archbishop Charles Ajanasari, triggered by remarks made by the Archbishop during a sermon where he referred to Nogopu as the demonic headquarters of the Volta region. The revered Archbishop rendered an apology for his comments, but that did not stop the Nogopu Traditional Council from issuing a 2-week ultimatum to the Archbishop to appear before them. Now, away from that, the Minister of Communications and Digitalization, Esla Owusu-Ekufo, is expected to appear before Parliament on Thursday to provide details on the SIM card registration exercise. Over 8 million subscribers, including the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, had their SIM cards deactivated after the May 31 deadline for the exercise. Speaking on the floor of the House, the MP for Ningo Prampram, Samuel Natek George, stressed the need for the Minister to appraise the legislators on measures being adopted to address concerns of persons who had their SIMs blocked despite undergoing the registration process. Citi News' Ni Ayekwen Okain reports. Now, Ni, tell us much more as to what is going to be happening.
Parliament on Tuesday, June 6, 2023, reconvened from recess to begin the second meeting of the third session with the swearing-in of the newly elected Member of Parliament for Kumewu in the Ashanti region, Ernest Yawenim, by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin.
I, Ernest Yawenim,
Having been elected a Member of Parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana, as by law established, that I will uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a Member of Parliament. So help me God. You are now duly sworn in as a member of Parliament for the Kumewu constituency.
Thank you, Speaker.
These are the tools you take to your farm. And as you enter, I'll be observing you to see whether you have your hoe and cutlass.
The Business Committee of the House has also programmed the Minister for Communications, Eslowusu Ekufo, to appear before Parliament on Thursday, June 8, 2023, to apprise legislators on the SIM registration exercise. But prior to this, the Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Samuel Nate George, says the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagben, has had his official SIM card also deactivated despite undergoing the exercise. Hence, the need for the Minister to appear urgently to answer questions regarding concerns raised about the process.
We should have had this briefing today, if possible, because we are talking about over 8 million SIM cards that have been disconnected, including even the SIM card of the Speaker of Parliament, not the Deputy, but the Speaker of Parliament himself. His official SIM card was disconnected, even though it was registered in the name of Parliament of Ghana. We have judges, we have lawyers, we have doctors, MPs whose SIM cards were disconnected. Even me, my SIM card was disconnected. Our SIM cards were disconnected.
Addressing the media on Tuesday, the minority in Parliament hinted of its approval of the nomination of Justice Gertrude Tokonu as the Chief Justice of Ghana, despite the group's strong disagreement with the full judgment of the Supreme Court on the dual citizenship case involving the then Member of Parliament for Asin North, James Jachikwesen.
What they did was to enact laws, the Supreme Court, not to interpret the text of the Constitution of Ghana. James Jachikwesen is gearing up to contest the by-election in Asin North, which has been brought about by the Supreme Court's decision. In that regard, we, the members of the Appointments Committee representing the National Democratic Congress, NDC, will not withhold our approval of the Chief Justice nominee by consensus. We will not withhold our approval of her by consensus. Her CV reveals a person of considerable experience, having served as a judge from the High Court to the Court of Appeal and ultimately at the Supreme Court. Women who have acquitted themselves should be given opportunities to occupy key national offices. Even as we disagree with her jurisprudence, we find her qualified to occupy the high office of Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana.
The group also debunked some assertions by the World Bank Country Director to Ghana, Pierre-Frank Laporte, that the power purchase agreements signed under the erstwhile Mahama administration is contributing to the huge debt crippling the energy sector, which has actually contributed to the economic difficulties faced by Ghanaians.
We wish to say that President Mahama is not the cause of the current economic mess. We are in this mess because of reckless borrowing and wrongful management of the economy by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led government. On the issue of take or pay, Mr. Laporte may wish to provide us with evidence of our peers in terms of countries within Sub-Saharan Africa that always succeeds in bringing in investors who are willing to spend over $300 to $600 million for projects in times of emergency without demanding any form of supply guarantee. President Mahama's record in the energy sector is unmatched. President Mahama, before leaving office, ensured that we had a comprehensive foothold, i.e., on the generation, on fuel, and on the financial sector. We finally wish to advise the World Bank Country Director, Mr. Laporte, to continue to work as a technocrat and not meddle himself in the field of politics. Mr. Laporte, you are not a politician. And when you are making such unsubstantiated comments, you must bear in mind that it has far-reaching ramifications on this country.
The Member of Parliament for Bum-Domiabra, Sophia Akwaku, also addressed the media on her recognition as the African Icon Female Parliamentarian of the Year in Abuja.
On the group, I keep on posting issues of my constituency, Bum-Domiabra, asking them to come and help me and support me in the development infrastructures of the area. So anytime there's any issue, I post it to their platform because it was an international platform that we have people from all over the world on the platform. So I kept on pushing. So any project I do, I send it to them. If there's any disaster in the area, if there's any problem, I send it to them concerning, let's say, the bad roads, the bad nature of the roads, the schools issues, health issues, water issues, electricity issues. So I kept on posting, looking for people to come and help. But fortunately and unfortunately, this is what I got out of all that I was posting and fighting for the constituency.
Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayikwe Okine for Citi News.
The legal fraternity has eulogized Justice Jones Dotse as he retires from the bench. Justice Dotse, who has been a judge of the Supreme Court for 15 years, delivered his valedictory judgment on Tuesday. Lawyers, family members and colleague judges who were present at the Supreme Court spoke highly of the acting Chief Justice as he took a bow from the judiciary. There is more in this report.
It was a moment of joy, nostalgia, and gratefulness as Justice Jones Dotse delivered his valedictory judgment on his retirement day from the judiciary. The valedictory judgment is a convention within the judiciary where justices who are taking a bow from the bench are given the opportunity to deliver their final judgments and celebrated by peers, colleagues in the legal fraternity, and family. The event in honor of Justice Jones Dotse was attended by various personalities within the legal fraternity. Speeches were said in his honor. Justice Jones Dotse was appointed to the Supreme Court in 2008 by President John Agyekum Kufuor. Prior to that, he had served as a Court of Appeal judge from 2003 to 2008. His first stint with the judiciary, however, was in 2002 when he was appointed as a High Court judge. During his period on the bench, he has delivered seminal judgments that have become reference points in establishing legal principles. Justice Jones Dotse is also part of a select few of judges who had the opportunity to be part of the panels that adjudicated the two presidential election petitions in the Fourth Republic. His colleagues on the bench said they hold him in high esteem. Justice Tokonu, who is the incoming Chief Justice, eulogized the acting Chief Justice.
We celebrate you, sir, and thank you for your intellectual leadership. In the few years that I've had the privilege and opportunity of working with him almost on a daily basis on this apex court, I have watched with admiration his keen and unflagging intelligence and alertness, his depth of preparation, and the clarity and wisdom with which he leads and presides over panels.
Attorney General Godfrey Dame was hopeful that the wisdom of Justice Dotse will be sought after even in retirement.
I pray that much as we will keep you close to our hearts, you will be not far from our sight. Your wisdom and value the spirit need to be tapped every now and then. Thus, though your beloved Pango will be a peaceful sanctuary to relieve all the hobbies and activities you raise at home, you must be as soon as possible to Accra, so that from time to time you can break from the deep walls of your knowledge.
Just like many judges, the work of Justice Jones Dotse has come up for criticism. He was in the news in 2013 when he used the phrase create, loot and share during the Waterville scandal case. Justice Jones Dotse was recently also chair of the panel that directed for the name of James Jachikwesin to be expunged from the records of Parliament. He, however, in tears expressed appreciation for all the praises.
Today, I am surprised no bad thing has been said about me. There is only the Ghanaian hospitality that you are handing there for me. And so I thank you for all the good things you have said about me. Today is a very memorable day.
But what holds for the acting Chief Justice in retirement?
The Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Abnadapa, is worried the objective of the ongoing expansion of the Dotse water treatment plant in the western region might not be realized if activities of illegal miners continue on the Pratt River. The construction of the extra 22 million gallons per day capacity at the Dotse water treatment plant, which is currently at the foundation stage, became necessary in the year 2020 because of years of water shortages in Sekondi Takoradi metropolis. While touring the construction site and also the polluted Pratt River, which feeds the Dotse water treatment plant, the minister told Citi News the spate of illegal mining activities on the Pratt River poses an imminent challenge. The following report has more.
Until the government stay committed to its promise to fight illegal small-scale mining in the western region and the rest of the country, this is the state of water the Ghana Water Company will have to continuously treat as potable water for residents here in Sekondi Takoradi to consume. To ensure consistent supply of water to the many people the plant serves, the minister visited the construction site to apprise herself with the happenings. When completed, the expansion project will guarantee a situation that will hugely be beneficial to residents. While speaking to Citi News, the water minister said the future of the existing Dotse water treatment plant and the ongoing plant expansion looks bleak if the galamsey does not stop.
It's very bleak if we continue like that. 10 o'clock in the morning, they are on our river body, the mighty River Pra, doing galamsey with champagne. We've all seen it. And that is the reason why we all say that we need to fight this and win this war. All these people have every right to mine, but legally. We are not saying nobody should earn a living. They should leave the river bodies alone. Now we have contracted a loan to revamp this system, water system, and do a new, bigger one. And it's the same plant that will give us the raw water. If we maltreat it, muddy it, where are we going? Does it mean we should allow a few people, because of lining their pockets, to do this to our river bodies and our land, and then sit down unconcerned? We're appealing to that they should stop. They should go and register legally and do legal surface mining. That will be good for them and this country. This is totally unacceptable.
The contractor has been speaking on the progress of work.
Our strategy is to perform as much as possible with the local resources and local manpower.
It's also our policy to make sure people in the community who are willing to work are given the chance to also.
We are looking at that as well. At the moment, we have approximately 40% of the workers from the community around the site. From contractor's point of view, this project started 30th of May last year. It has a duration of 40 months execution. However, for Ghana Water, this plan to build this project is since long time ago due to the need of water for the people from Sekondi area and Takoradi as well. At the end of the project, we'll be able to produce 100,000 cubic meter per day water.
The salt cutting ceremony was actually done in November 2020 before the election with a promise to actually finish this project in 3 years. But the project was actually started almost 2 years after the salt cutting, which is May. Even though the government is now saying that it has money and hoping to now finish the project in some 3 years to come, whatever that will come out of here, if the issue of galamsey is not nipped in the bud, the challenges that the current plant is facing is likely to be suffered over there too. For Citi News, I'm Akwese Jenim. That was it.
The Spintex branch of Excellence Boutique and other shop managers in Accra have been picked up by the Ghana Revenue Authority GRA task force for not issuing VAT invoices to their customers. The exercise forms part of measures to have business operators pay taxes as mandated by law. However, during an inspection exercise to some shops, it emerged that most operators were issuing invoices that was not prescribed. Citi News' Kwekwe Jamansa was with the task force and has filed this report.
Under Section 41 of the VAT Act 2013, every registered VAT taxpayer is required to issue an electronic VAT invoice with details that are prescribed by the Commissioner General when they provide services or supplied goods. In sharp contrast, not all businesses are complying with the law. The action of such errant businesses means government will not be able to accrue the needed revenue for other developmental projects. To ensure that businesses adhere to the law, the GRA has apprehended some operators who are acting in contravention with the law. The Spintex branch of Excellence Boutique is one of such businesses flouting the law. Manager of the shop is reported to have sold items without issuing VAT invoice of the GRA.
We have come to pick you up for questioning, and then we'll take your records which are available.
It means the prices is not...
You didn't issue a tax invoice which is against the law.
Is there, but she didn't...
She's not supposed to ask.
Here, please, when she came here, we have some two customers here, so I was attending with her. So after she left, I was attending to some one woman, so she left and I couldn't. Yes, please.
Yes, so on taking the money, you are obliged by law as a registered taxpayer to issue her a tax invoice.
When she bought it, I have the distance over here. I have the receipt here.
But it's on record that you did not issue,
so
which is against the law.
All that you are saying, when the CRD takes you, you can go and put it into writing.
After the engagement, manager of the shop was asked to report to the GRA headquarters on Wednesday for further action. Another company that was cited for non-compliance of tax laws was Build Mart Ghana. It trades in paints and other products needed for furnishing buildings and is located at Adabraka. Here, the task force discovered that all invoices issued for purchases made were that of the company instead of the GRA's.
About goods and services is to pay VAT using the Commissioner General's VAT invoice prescribed by the Commissioner General, which you fill. So today we are here to cause an arrest, and we are here with the CID. Mr. CID is here. Where is he? Yeah, please, you can effect the arrest now. I've told you, in line with Section 41 of the VAT Act, you are to issue to recipients of your goods Commissioner General's VAT invoice, which you failed to. You issued your own invoice against what the Commissioner General has prescribed.
You had a certificate. When you have the cover to issue your own invoice, they have the certificate that they give for.
Yes. You failed to issue that. That is why you are under arrest.
Manager of Build Mart Ghana was subsequently picked up for prosecution. The team then proceeded to Bedat's Cold Supplies at Lashibi, that is into the sale of frozen chicken, fish and eggs. Here, the GRA task force had evidence that they were selling without issuing VAT invoices. A representative of the company was picked up to assist with investigation and subsequent prosecution. Another retail shop, Yacht Ventures, located at Nima, was not left off the hook. Here, the task force disclosed that they were selling without issuing VAT invoices as prescribed by law. The shop was subsequently closed by the task force for prosecution to begin.
We started with test batches, where we come in unnoticed and buy from you to test whether you are voluntarily complying. Once you fail that test, the next stage is to arrest you for non-compliance. So it's not about being invited, it's about we coming to, because we are enforcing. You understand? So it's not about being invited. You have gone against Section 41 of the VAT Act, where you are supposed to issue the invoice. So once you fail to do so, you have committed an offense for which you have to be arrested. And that is what we are doing now. So it's not about being invited. It's not about being invited. So once you are arrested, then you go and put your statement down when you get to the CID's office. You understand? So maybe they are missing the point. They don't understand what is really happening. You have committed an offense.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom. I'm Frima Edunyame. Coming up. NLC summons Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and leadership of the staff of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC, to appear before it on Wednesday, June 7, 2023. We have the details coming up shortly. Do stay.
This is Esther, an 11-year-old girl who finds herself living with an abusive father.
There is always another way. Protect the child.
Who can save me from this physical abuse?
There is always another way. Protect the child.
Every child deserves to be treated with love, respect, and dignity. Smacking, slapping, spanking children with a hand or with an element such as a whip, stick, belt, shoe, wooden spoon, etc. is physical abuse. It can also involve, for example, kicking, shaking or throwing children, scratching, pinching, burning, scalding a child. Physical abuse destroys the confidence and self-esteem of children.
I feel safe and loved.
Let's be Ghanaians against child abuse. Say no to physical abuse. Be a GAPA.
Hello again. Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Dr. Clement Park, has described as woefully inadequate the proposal to increase the school feeding grant from 97 pesewas to 1 cedi 20 pesewas. The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Lariba Zuwera Abudu, proposed an increase of 1 cedi 20 pesewas, but the school feeding caterers who have withdrawn their services since the reopening of schools have rejected the offer. Speaking to Citi News on the matter, Dr. Clement Park said the government must increase the grant to 3 cedis 50 pesewas per child in accordance with protecting social intervention programs under the current International Monetary Fund program. Citi News' Daniel Sakite has more in the following report read by Kweku Ejamansa.
School feeding caterers have for the past few weeks withdrawn their services to press home their demand for the government to pay them their arrears, whilst also demanding an increase in the school feeding grant from the 97 pesos to 3 Ghana cedis 50 pesos per child. In a bid to resolve this issue, the Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Lareba Zurera Abudu, in a press engagement assured that the arrears will be paid this week, while indicating that government is considering proposals to increase the school feeding grant to 1 Ghana cedi 20 pesos per child. This has, however, been flatly rejected by the school feeding caterers, who say the amount is inadequate. Amid recent agitations over the school feeding program and impact of the strike of caterers, Member of Parliament for Bulsa South and Deputy Ranking Member on Parliament's Education Committee, Dr. Clement Park, says this is having a dire impact on academic work as students, particularly in rural areas, have ceased attending school. He has thus urged the government to increase the grant per child, while serving notice to file an urgent question in Parliament demanding answers from the government on issues confronting the school feeding program.
We are going to file a number of questions, and we would seek to get government to respond, because in times like this, social intervention programs, particularly tailored to deal with the already miserable conditions of the downtrodden, the less fortunate, and the privileged, must be reinforced in times like this. And I think that promise was given to us by the IMF and the Minister for Finance when they engaged the media in the US in responding to a number of questions. We were assured that social intervention programs will be protected and they will be enhanced. So we expect government to walk the talk. Since the caterers went on strike, we have heard and we have every reason to believe that it has affected retention, because the pupils usually would wake up excited to go to school because they know they are guaranteed a meal. These are pupils who come from backgrounds and families where their parents and guardians do not even have the barest minimum to support them.
Education think tank Africa Education Watch, also reacting to the developments confronting the school feeding program, has entreated government to grant the request of school feeding caterers. The think tank says government must use the upcoming mid-year budget review to increase the feeding grant.
For me, I've seen that at the beginning of the year when the 2023 budget was read. It was in the budget there has been a 10% increment. And since the budget came out, we made the point that even a 10% increment is not enough. And the caterers themselves, they made a point when they were embarking on their strike that they actually needed a 200% increment that corresponds to 3 Ghana cedis at their level. So if they need 3 Ghana cedis and now government only made it to up to 1 cedis 20 pesos, still, I'm not sure it will settle the tide when it comes to caterers' agitation for more increased funding for the program. So for us, we are hoping that maybe government will use the supplementary budget, which will be read next month, as an opportunity to do something much more about the increment.
Meanwhile, parents are concerned about the strike of the school feeding caterers. They want government to address concerns of the school feeding caterers.
School feeding ni de na nka eye pa eboa mofra no nso wotumi didi kama abane show kama ba sesi ase na wo makọ strike no mitumi se betumi affect mofra no nso se wo madidi no abatan na atan se yenya bre mo mo no ne ade ti feeding no na nka ye nti nka ye sra ban se nka onye de onto obaketuam kakra se na ebe ya wo nso betumi ayere wo aye adwumaden e de abo aye mba no nso.
Now, in some other news, the National Labour Commission has issued a summons for the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the leadership of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC staff, to appear before it on Wednesday, June 7, 2023. Now, this follows a threat made by the GBC staff to engage in a series of industrial action unless the allowances revoked by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission are reinstated. On April 5, 2023, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission initiated a nationwide payroll monitoring exercise aimed at rectifying any irregularities in the public sector payroll. Now, during this exercise, it was discovered that some GBC staff members were receiving allowances that they were not entitled to. However, the staff of GBC have dismissed the claims. Now moving to the seat of government, President Akufo-Addo has underscored the government's strong commitment to improving mental health care nationwide. The president emphasized the importance of this commitment in light of the rising number of mental health cases reported throughout the country. Here's a report by Daniel Odru-Mensah and read by Charles Owusukumi.
The Department of Psychiatry at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has a significant history, originating from the establishment of the University of Ghana Medical School in 1962. Initially, the department lacked a dedicated facility at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and students' training took place at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Over time, past heads of the department, including Professor Angela Oforiatta, wife of the Minister of Finance, Ken Oforiatta, mobilized funds for the construction of a state-of-the-art office complex. The building is named after squadron leader Melody Dankwa, the late mother of Professor Oforiatta, and Sub-Saharan Africa's first female pilot. Speaking at the commissioning of the new psychiatric department building constructed as a result of a collaboration between the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the University of Ghana Medical School, President Akufo-Addo acknowledged that the structure will significantly bolster the government's commitment to advancing mental health care.
This state-of-the-art facility not only serves the University of Ghana Medical School, but also serves the larger Kolebu Teaching Hospital community. It houses a conference room, student lecture hall, faculty research offices, a serene waiting area conducive to teaching and learning, trendy consulting rooms, therapy rooms, a treatment room, a pharmacy, and an observation room. This building symbolizes a beautiful partnership between public institutions and the private sector. It shows what can be achieved when the experts sit with the private sector and the private sector becomes alive to its responsibilities. And this partnership then deepens government's commitment to advancing mental health care in Ghana.
Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu stated that the inauguration of the building also contributes to the country's pursuit of United Nations Sustainable Development Goal No. 3, which focuses on ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being.
Commissioning of this new building for the psychiatric department of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital is not only a testament to our mission, but also a significant contribution towards achieving the targets set by the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. It directly supports SDG Target 3.4, which aims to reduce premature mortality from non-communicable diseases and to promote mental health and well-being.
Professor Nanaba Appiah-Amfo, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, emphasized that the new facility will play a vital role in reducing the stigma associated with mental health patients.
One of the significant challenges we face is stigma attached to mental illnesses in our society. The stigma, both perceived and internalized, has resulted in the marginalization and isolation of individuals seeking help, as well as the healthcare professionals dedicated to their care. We firmly believe that this new structure will indirectly reduce the burden of stigma by creating an environment where patients and healthcare workers feel respected and supported.
Meanwhile, CEO of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Opokuwari Ampoma, highlighted that the challenging circumstances experienced in the country have led to an increase in mental health cases.
Hardship has made a profound impact on the mental states of individuals, resulting in significant increase in our department's patient base to about 30% above the numbers that we were seeing before. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important to acknowledge that there is a thin line between normal and abnormal mental state, as psychologists often remind us. And the commission of this building would draw attention to psychiatry, which has become more or less a neglected discipline. But we are grateful for the leadership of the past heads of department and the heads of the department for turning psychiatry around and making it an attractive discipline for young people, and also helping to destigmatize healthcare.
You're still live on the Citi Newsroom, still to come. Ghana Boundary Commission reveals that currently Ghana has no land dispute with any of its neighbors. We have more news coming up. Please stay.
Finally, anyone can become a house owner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You Go Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.yougoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. You Go Flip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
A forest is made up of trees of various kinds. A great country like ours must be endowed with many trees. Last year was successful. Be part of this year's campaign on the 9th of June in planting 10 million tree seedlings nationwide under the theme Our Forest, Our Health. Seedlings will be made available at the Forestry Commission and other designated places nationwide. Let us preserve our forests. Green Ghana. Let's go planting. This campaign is proudly brought to you by the Government of Ghana under the auspices of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Forestry Commission, and supported by the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, Ghana Forest Investment Program, Forest Plantation Development Fund.
Thanks for staying. The prosecution of sanitation offenders seems to have a minimal impact on addressing indiscriminate waste disposal. This is evident in the choke drains seen in the Kumasi metropolis and parts of the Ashanti region. Although efforts aimed at addressing the menace, including education and enforcement of bylaws, have been intensified, a major setback authorities are grappling with is human behavior. Citi News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports.
Of solid and liquid waste are generated each day from communities in the Ashanti region and sent to the landfill site for disposal and, in some instances, recycling. But plastic waste still finds its way into major drains within the metropolis, not only choking them but becoming a nuisance to the public.
It's highly uncomfortable because everywhere you go, there's litters, plastic waste around. It's not a good situation.
Some of these things, it is with the citizens of this particular community that does it. Most of them are ignorant about it, and most of them as well knows it, but they still do it.
Calls for strict Enforcement of bylaws to punish sanitation offenders often dominates public discourse when such issues come up. Environmental health officers reveal over 200 sanitation offenders in districts within the Ashanti region have been prosecuted in the first quarter of 2023. The Ashanti Regional Environmental Health Officer, John Yaudonko, insists behavioral change is key in addressing the sanitation challenge.
Somebody was bold enough to say that if you don't litter the Zoomline, people will not get work to do. So they've considered it as a hobby. That no, we are people who are supposed to clean, and therefore they will continue to litter. And therefore, the first thing that we are supposed to do is the change of mindset.
An environmental sociologist with the Sociology and Social Work Department of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Mary Sifa Buampong, believes urbanization contributes greatly to the plastic waste menace.
People have been de-individuated in the sense that there is no identity. They are disguised. People don't know them, so do anything that they like. So in the urban setting, it brings a lot of pollution because now people go and buy. People just want to have their simple way of living. Buy cocoa or porridge, polythene, put in the bag, go and eat, throw it somewhere. You buy food with rubber. People put soup in rubber, and the repercussion of putting food in rubber is enormous.
She, however, wants institutions to be strengthened to tackle the issue head-on. Ashanti Regional Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Samuel Otin, says the establishment of recycling plants by some industries contributes to addressing plastic pollution.
We have also encouraged a lot of industries to put up recycling plants. And Kumasi, Greater Kumasi alone, we have 19 of such facilities. As much as we want to encourage them to do the recycling, we do not just also encourage them to pollute the environment.
The Environmental Sociology Association, in collaboration with the Environmental Science Students Association at the KNUST, are pledging more efforts to help address plastic pollution in Ghana, even beyond the activities marking this year's World Environment Day.
Plastic in the drains is one major issue authorities are seeking to address, but they say their efforts are being hindered by human behavior. Hafiz Tijani, Citi News, Kumasi, Ashanti Region.
The National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, has revealed that currently Ghana has no disputes with any of its neighbors. And according to him, the Commission has successfully settled all disputes with its neighboring countries through peaceful means and using international conventions and national legislature. There is more in this report filed by Citi News' and Shelley Ziwu.
The African Border Day is commemorated on the 7th of June every year by African Union member states. The day is set aside to educate member states on border-related issues in the continent. It's also aimed at sensitizing stakeholders on the role of border in promoting peace and security and national development. Speaking during the Minister's press briefing on African Border Day, the National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, has revealed that currently Ghana has no land dispute with any of its neighbors. He, however, indicated that Ghana and Togo were only reaffirming their international border lines to set a clear demarcation of the land borders of both countries.
Let me mention that so far as land boundaries are concerned, there is no dispute so far as our land demarcations are concerned. So what the Ghana Boundary Commission clearly is doing and is continuing to do now is reaffirmation. These land demarcations, we are not doing new demarcations because there is no dispute so far our land demarcations are concerned. But let me also mention that there have been a number of success stories between us and Togo. There was one time that we had a boundary problem at a place called Pulmanku in the Pusiga district. And when we went there jointly with the our Togolese counterparts, on the spot we were able to resolve and announce to the whole world that the land boundary markings that was originally affirmed by the legacy documents is what should be respected.
He also revealed that there was no violation of Ghana's western maritime boundary as delimited by the ruling of the International Tribunal of the Law of the Sea (ICLOS) in 2017.
On Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, you all remember that in 2017, the International Tribunal on the Law of the Sea ruled in favor of Ghana so far as the international maritime boundary is concerned. Currently, what we are doing in Cote d'Ivoire is to proceed.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom. Up next is CNR Business with Nashika Caesar.
Hello and welcome to CNR Business with me, Nashika Caesar. Now, emission staff from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, will arrive in the country on Wednesday to access the implementation of Ghana's economic recovery program. Thus far, this will be the first ever visit by the IMF after its board approved Ghana's bailout on May 17 as it seeks to examine progress of the agreement. CNR Business can authoritatively report that key institutions, including the Bank of Ghana, the Finance Ministry, and other relevant stakeholders, will be engaged on the way forward during the one-week visit by the mission. This assessment by the IMF mission staff is also to pave way for the grounds for the fund to conduct a thorough review of the targets under the $3 billion three-year extended credit facility later in June this year. After the arrangement was authorized for Ghana, it enabled an immediate disbursement of $600 million, with the rest expected to be disbursed in tranches every 6 months after the program evaluations agreed by the IMF Executive Board. The IMF mission staff will return next week after a conclusion on its monitoring. Now, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has assured investors that the government is committed to restoring the economy following the recent economic crunch. The Vice President was speaking at the 2023 Ghana Investment and Opportunity Summit in the UK on Tuesday. The following report has more. The free fall of the cedi, coupled with record-high inflationary levels, resulted in the worst state of the economy in decades. The unfavorable business environment also led to investors losing billions of dollars, compelling many of them to leave the country to do business elsewhere. However, with the approval of a $3 billion credit facility from the IMF, the economy is beginning to bounce back, and Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has reached out to investors to return to the country as the government is intensifying efforts to revive the economy.
Government has established a financial stability fund with the help of development partners to provide liquidity support to banks, pension funds, insurance companies, fund managers, and collective investment schemes to ensure that they are able to meet their obligations to their clients as they fall due. We are confident that these measures will contribute to restoring macroeconomic stability.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia also said the government was working to increase the growth of its non-traditional exports from $2.5 billion to over $25 billion by 2029.
Government of Ghana envisaged that over a duration of 10 years, our non-traditional exports would grow from $2.5 billion to $25.3.
Now, the Ghana Chamber of Mines wants a law enacted to ensure the payment of mineral royalties by mining companies. According to the Chamber, despite the establishment of the Minerals Development Fund, the allocated funds have also not been effectively disbursed. Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Mines, Suleiman Okone, has been speaking on the repercussions of the absence of a law that at the launch of the 2020 Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative report.
So one of the few things we did was to push the agenda for a Minerals Development Fund. And as I speak, I'm now a member of the board of the MDF. But I guess those of us who did the advocacy for the law to be passed so that rather than administrative fiat for plowing back a portion of mineral royalty back to communities for development would be quite sad, because what we envisage is not what is going on. You speak with the MDF Secretariat. No, please, not too sure how much monies would actually flow, and even the timeliness of it, although the law says that within the next business day, once you receive the money, let it go where it has to get to. So we are talking about certainty here. When you are talking about planning, you expect funds to go into development projects. How can they plan effectively when they are not too sure when to receive the money? You have cost overruns and so on and so forth. So I think...
Now, tech analysts have expressed concern over the potential risk artificial intelligence AI poses to businesses, largely attributing these concerns to a lack of knowledge. Speaking at the first Citi Business Festival Forum for the year on Citi TV, under the theme Reimagining the Digital Economy, the panelists shed light on the intrusive nature and powerful algorithms inherent in AI, which can be manipulated to significant effect. There's more in the following report.
Senior Manager of Enterprise Marketing and Portfolio Management at MTN Ghana, Benedict Bento, acknowledged the potential of AI to enhance job efficiency, but also highlighted the importance of being aware of the associated risks.
If we are trained in data science, we know how to harness all that data. And essentially, the AI is just a machine or a system that's taking all that data and processing it at a faster pace than a human mind would, so it could generate the essays and all that.
Chief Executive Officer of TechGov, Franklin Asari, suggested that discussions about AI should begin with addressing the issue of data ownership.
Do you notice that these days when you speak and you say you want to eat pizza or whatever, before you know there's a pizza ad? Yeah. And most of us don't have a clue as to how to block them. That will be part of the immediate digital education, because your privacy has been intruded.
The Chief Executive Officer of ZPay, Andrew Techi Apia, also called for comprehensive discussions to establish a social contract that outlines the ethical guidelines and regulations surrounding AI implementation.
Urgently, we should start having conversations around I use social contract.
The head of digital and payments for Absa Bank Ghana, Horatio Dodu, emphasized the need for businesses to reinvent themselves in order to adapt to evolving customer demands and technological advancements.
And from a personal perspective, we shouldn't be worried about AI coming to possibly take over our jobs. I think we as a personnel need to see how best we can reinvent ourselves to be able to accommodate what the technology is bringing to the markets. That's what I think.
The Citi Business Festival 2023 is powered by Citi TV and Citi FM in partnership with Absa and is sponsored by MTN Momo, MTN Business and ZPay with support from Gersol.
And that's all for CNR Business. My name is Nashika Caesar.
And this is where we part company, but before we take leave of you, a look again at our top stories. National Peace Council mediates peace agreement between Nogopo traditional authorities and Archbishop Ajanasari. Minister of Communications to face Parliament over SIM card rate registration issues. Galamsey threatens Dotse water treatment plant expansion. GRA Task Force apprehends businesses for VAT invoice non-compliance. We have more news on our website, citinewsroom.com. Subscribe to CitiTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV. Thank you very much for your time. I'm Frima Edunami.